Good morning. Today I'm going to give you as you can see from the background behind me, I'm back in a college environment once again. Today I'm going to demonstrate boiling technique and stewing technique. Now the dish is going to be lamb, mutton soup, and it's going to be, that's the boiling one, alongside boiling some spaghetti. Then I'm going to, the stewing one is just a Bolognaise sauce, right? A stew is when you cook small cuts of meat or vegetable, food item, in a liquid, slowly to break it down until it becomes soft and edible. Yeah. Boiling is rapidly boiling food item in a liquid like water or stock. You don't boil in sauce, not really. Reason being is that if you boil raw food in stock, in sauce, the chances are the bottom of the pan will catch and burn before the food item is even beginning to soften in texture. So you always boil in liquid like water or stock. Yeah. You can use milk once again, but it's better to poach in milk because milk, it boils over really quickly. But if you was to poach in milk, it's lower than boiling, and you got more control over the milk boiling over. So this morning's lesson is soup, which is the mutton soup, and a stew, which you maybe didn't realise that Bolognaise is a stew because you boil the mince until it becomes soft. Well, you stew the mince, so you stew it until it becomes soft. So then you're going to boil the spaghetti. So those are the elements of this morning's lesson. So I want to just show you some of the food preparation techniques. Okay. Right. One of the good things about being in a kitchen like this, it's very, very well equipped. So you can imagine that I've got everything. I've got everything to do with every single type of cooking. Now you will see, right, I'm going to have a red chopping board. That's for raw meat. Normally when I'm cooking at home, I only have one type of chopping board. If you've got one type of chopping board at home, use a white one. It's neutral. It will cover all aspects. However, if you can afford to get the colour-coded chopping boards, it is best because it will prevent cross-contamination. What is cross-contamination? Cross-contamination is if I was putting the red meat on here, which is raw, and then I was to go over here, which is the brown chopping board, and start putting some carrots. I'm transferring any bacteria from here to here. However, if I wash my hands and everything, as I said before, and use that one strictly for red meat, that one strictly for vegetables. Remember washing your hands, or if you're using gloves, change the gloves every time you start a new job to prevent cross-contamination. Right, now we're going to prepare, I said, a stew and a soup. Soup is a boiling technique. Now with the mutton broth, we are going to prepare it and we are going to bring it up in cold water. One of the things about preparing the mutton broth is that all of the ingredients in the broth is for show. So there is no roughly cut vegetables. It is all for show. So we're going to do like a brunoise. Right. So first of all, I'm going to, this is cold water. You place the mutton in with the neck of lamb. You're going to place it into the cold water and bring it to the boil. When it comes to the boil, you're going to remove any scum and stuff like that. Then you add your vegetables. So, some black pepper, basic seasonings, and I've put in here dessert spoon of salt. Right. Now, 2 reasons. Once again, to bring up the mutton broth, it brings up all the scum. If for any reason I then think that the water is too salty, I can then refresh it, throw away that water, add fresh water, and then start to cook the mutton neck or the neck of lamb in new water. So first of all, I'm going to put that on the fire, and I'm going to get my neck of lamb here. I don't really need the red chopping board, so what I'm going to do, I'm just going to add the neck of lamb to that. I'm going to bring it to the boil, skim it, and then add the vegetables. Now the vegetables is a brunoise, and a brunoise is small cuts of vegetables. However, you have noticed that I have touched red meat, so what I've got to do, I've got to go now to the sink, wash my hands, and prepare myself for the preparation of the vegetables. Brunoise is small dices, and I'll show you in a minute. Right, so for the brunoise, we're going to have, you don't need this now, we're going to have, because it's a broth, it's going to have barley, wherever the barley may be. We're going to have barley, turnip, carrots, celery, what I'm going to do, I'm going to move that pot to another stove so that that will enable you to see me prepare the vegetables. Or I can move, if I was to move, let me see. How about if I move here and then see if I can. Right, I've changed positions so that you can see what I'm doing. I've got a bowl in front of me which I'm going to use for rubbish and stuff like that. So I've got a bowl that I'm going to use for rubbish. Because when you're working in catering, you can't always be near a dustbin, but you still got to get rid of your rubbish. So that's my little rubbish bowl. What I have here is some parsley stalks, right? So I picked the leaves for garnish. I use the stalks to flavour a stock because there's a lot of flavour in the stock, and so really truly. There we go. So we're going to cut that so that it fits into the saucepan. And I'm just going to chuck that in to the saucepan with the lamb neck. And then we're going to move on very quickly to preparing vegetables. Right. Brunoise. By now you should all know how to prepare peel vegetables. So we're going to have celery, which is a stem, carrot is a root, and turnip is a root. Then we're going to have onion, which is a bulb, and garlic, which is also a bulb. Right? So it's a quick demonstration. I'm going to quickly just always wash the vegetables, make sure they're nice and clean, and then we're just going to do little dices because this is going to be the presentation for the soup. And with a broth, because everything's on show, you want it all to look uniform because we eat with our eyes. When it looks good, we tend to want to eat it. If it doesn't look so good, no matter how good it tastes, we tend to dismiss it. So you can see what I'm doing here now. Just preparing the celery. And then I'm going to peel the carrot and the turnip. And yeah. Right. Now I'm going to do quick demonstration of diced onions, and so that's my diced onions. I'll stick it in one corner like that, so you will see. And I'm going to chop up the garlic. I'm not going to crush it, I'm just going to chop it up. There's my garlic, carrot, and then we'll add that to the celery. And then I'm going to skim the scum off the top of the stock. And then I'm going to add the vegetables. And once I've added the vegetables, I'm going to cover it with a lid and let it slowly simmer for about an hour. So, now, it's usually equal amounts. So if it's 100 grams of onion, it's 100 grams of celery, 100 grams of turnip, 100 grams of onion. Garlic, you never put 100 grams, you'd put about 25 grams, about 25 grams. You only want a quarter of the amount. Right, with the turnip, I'll cut it into discs, then I'll cut it long ways like that. And then once I've got it long ways, I turn it around and cut it across. And there, quick and easy, I get my dices. Once again, I'll show you again. So discs. Cut it long ways. And I turn it around. And then I go across like that. Slowly. There is no hurry. We don't want an accident. We want food, but we don't want an accident. Right, so now I've got a ladle, and you'll see the scum come to the top, and all I'm going to do is get the ladle and skim off anything that I don't need. Yeah, and what I'm going to do, I'm going to let this soup, this lamb neck, boil for, I would say, a few moments more, maybe 15-20 minutes, to extract the flavour from the parsley. Then I'm going to remove the parsley. Then I'm going to add the vegetables. So my next preparation is going to be the preparation for the Bolognaise. Right, so where are we now? I need a little bit of oil. Little bit, when I say a little bit, I'm talking about less than 50 millilitres. Right, and then I'm going to dispense this a little bit so you can see that I've got my vegetables here. And this is stem and bulb. I can put them straight into the pan straight away, and then I can straight into the pan. Then I can prepare my mushrooms. So that's thrown away. Then I'm going to show you how to chop mushrooms. Well, how to slice mushrooms really quickly, like that. Don't take long. And you can see that it comes like driving a car. You don't look at the gears when you're changing them, do you? You just change the gears, and you'll see that I'm looking at you, and you'll see in a minute that I will have sliced mushrooms. Yeah. So take my word for it, because I can't handle this video in such a way. It's too close to handle it where you can see me and my knife skills. Well, have a look now. You'll see sliced mushrooms, yeah? So I'll show you again. All right. And then I'm just going to add that to the vegetables. Why did I put the mushrooms in after? Because the mushrooms is a softer vegetable than the root, the stem, and the bulb. So the bulb will take longer to cook. So put that one in first, put the mushroom in after. That way, the mushrooms, they don't overcook while we're trying to get rid of the, trying to cook the stem and the bulb. Right. Stem being celery, bulb being onion and garlic. Put that in there, right? So now I can get rid of that. Don't need it no more. Get rid of that. I don't need it no more. We're going to move on to the meat now. Right. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to stir the vegetables, and then I'm going to brown my meat. So I can turn this up just a little bit. Yeah, one. Tomato puree. I've got mince. Right. Okay. 50 grams of vegetables to 200 grams of mince. So it'll be 50 mushroom, 50 celery, 50 onions, 50 of everything, because the main ingredient is the mince. If it was 100 grams, it would be 25 of everything. Right. So now I'm just going to brown the meat. And then I'm going to add 1 litre of stock and let that meat cook in that stock until it reduces right down. When it reduces right down, what you're going to end up with is a very tender mince sauce that's been stewed in stock, and it will be ready to serve with the spaghetti. Now, just browning it up. I didn't put no salt in this because I'm using a beef stock. And because I'm using a beef stock, there is enough salt in that beef stock to season this dish. What I am going to do, something you might find a little bit unusual, I'm going to add a dessert spoonful of sugar. What happens is that the sugar will take away some of the sourness away from the tomato puree. If you've got any fresh herbs in there, a great herb to go into Bolognaise, is basil. Yeah, a little bit of basil in there, fresh basil. It gives it a very nice flavour. And basil complements tomato. So, right, the mince is almost ready now. And then I'm going to get a dessert spoonful of sugar. Well, not that one, but that's nice in sugar. And we're not making cake. I had it somewhere with sugar. Just got from, sugar has arrived. Right. Dessert spoon, sugar. Mix that in. And it is a tomato sauce. Now, you can put tinned tomatoes in there. Or you can do as I do, tomato puree and stock. Once the stock reduces, leave it to cook, simmer it for an hour. Once the stock is, once the Bolognaise is cooked, there we go. So, once the Bolognaise is cooked, you'll get a very tender Bolognaise. And it's really nice. So, I'm going to put about 2 dessert spoons of tomato paste, remembering it's, well, 2.5, It is a tomato base. Then I'm going to put in the stock. I'm going to bring that to the boil. That's a litre. I'm going to bring that to the boil, and then that's going to simmer for an hour. Same with the soup. I'm going to take out the what am I going to take out? The parsley stalks, and then I'm going to add my vegetables and my pearl barley. So just hang on there 1 second. Right, so you'll see me now. This is the soup. I'm taking out the parsley stalks. I don't need it anymore. I've extracted enough flavour out of the parsley stalks. So all I'm going to do now is get rid of the parsley stalk, because we don't need it in there. It's not going to be part of the presentation. Anything that we don't want in there will come out. Don't need it. Then, in goes the vegetables. And about 50 grams. You can put 100 grams if you want. But I'd say about 50 grams will do me nicely of the barley, pearl barley. And it doesn't need any tomato puree. I was going to make a tomato and lamb broth, but I'm not. Just going to leave it as plain old mutton broth, traditional. Once that's cooked, we'll get back to it and I'll show you the final products. Okay. Later.